Hey everyone, with Forbidden Sanctum launching at the end of this week, I just wanted to real quickly talk through my current league start plans and what I'll be playing. So as you can see here, I'll be playing Blazing Salvo Inquisitor, just self-cast goodness, probably in a private league with a few of my friends. So there'll be about 4 of us, so it'll be a reasonably limited economy, sort of pseudo SSF, which is kind of what I normally play. What you're looking at here in POE is reasonably loose, which is generally how I kind of like to plan most of my builds. I do have a handful of different leveling tree options, which I'll toss in the description of the video. I only have a few things that I'm particularly shooting for with the build. The first one being that I'll be going Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter. Of course, getting Mind Over Matter on the tree, and then I'll be getting Eldritch Battery from a Devouring Diadem. I'll be rushing that Devouring Diadem as soon as possible, which we'll see when we get into the Atlas passive tree as well. And really the only other thing, aside from general just damage and crit chance, is that I want a lot of cast speed, because self-casting feels terrible without it. As you can see here, I kind of have some semi-random gear. Some of it's good, some of it's pretty not good. But really just sort of generic things to target for and kind of look and see exactly what we're at. We have a respectable 5.6 million Guardian Pinnacle Boss DPS with hopefully nothing particularly egregious checked here in the configuration. Some of the main things to call out for gearing to look out for if you're particularly interested in doing something similar is that focus is very good. A lot of people don't really like it because you have to click an extra button, but just getting double damage on shield and attack and cast speed on gloves. If you see here, my 5.6 million DPS, I uncheck focus, I go down to 4.2 million DPS. So it is an absolutely insane amount of damage when it's up, and it doesn't really add that much additional complexity during boss fights, so I highly suggest going for it if you want to squeak out some additional damage. Past these couple of items and modifiers, I'm pretty much just going to be looking for stuff with good armor and energy shields, and then, you know, life resistances, that sort of deal. Nothing else particularly crazy otherwise. Looking for a pretty basic anoint here. There's probably a world in which I switch off of Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter. You could respec the tree, and instead of doing this, you could spec into a Glorious Vanity, probably here, and go into a Leadership's Price setup. There's probably even a world in which you could get off of Inevitable Judgment and just grab Augury of Penitence. You could add Fire Pen with Leadership's Price, you'd be getting Scorched, and with Hex rework, it would probably be pretty reasonable there. You'd probably want to switch off and maybe do something like a Brass Dome as well too. So there are definitely some options in the late game if you didn't want to do the Eldritch Battery version. Mana cost would definitely be something that you'd want to take a look at. Divergent Inspiration and some minus mana cost on gear would be pretty important for that. From a leveling perspective, I tend to kind of just go with the flow with whatever I do, so I definitely don't have any particularly exciting leveling guide. I'll probably start with Spark, Onslaught, and Added Lightning. You get Blazing Salvo at level 12, and so I'll swap to that immediately and ride that out till the end of time, really. I'll also be trying to stick with Scepter so I can leap slam around, because Flame Dash makes me want to jump into traffic. But after that point, Jesus will probably take the wheel and we'll figure out what supports I end up leveling with. I'll probably swap Added Lightning for Ellie Focus if I get some added damage crafts, and then we'll slap on a Pinpoint once I get a 4-link, probably around Act 4. Auras will most likely be Clarity and Herald of Ash for a decent while, and then once I swap over to Eldritch Battery around Second Lab, I'll probably throw in an Anger as well too. I will be uploading pretty regularly throughout the week after league start, so feel free to check back in on my progress and how the private league and my personal progression is going in that. Moving on to the Atlas tree that I'll be starting with, we have a pretty basic one here. At the time of my recording this, we do not have the updated Atlas passive tree yet. So as you can see, I have about 104 out of 132 points currently locked in, so we'll kind of see with the other remaining 28 points if I want to spec more into Expedition or kind of how that pans out. In general, I'm going to be targeting points for Essence, Heist, Expedition, Strong Boxes, and Rogue Exiles. We'll also, of course, be grabbing Intelligence Gathering in that upper right to be able to rush Devouring Diadem as quickly as possible. Essence and Strongbox will be mostly for generic loot and crafting materials. Expedition and Rogue Exiles will be for uniques, and then of course general currency and crafting, since Expedition pretty much does everything. Heist will be mostly for alt quality gems, and then of course the leadership price that we will likely want to move into in the late game. If with these 28 points the additional Heist or Expedition nodes aren't particularly exciting, we'll probably just slam them either into shrines, some of the Heist blueprint nodes that we have here, or some of the additional Essence nodes that I haven't grabbed yet. We'll also have to exactly see what the new boss nodes end up being after the rework to see if we'll end up wanting to spec some points into there. But once the updated tree gets released, check the description of the video and I'll add my updated Atlas tree with whatever I end up changing there. That's about all I've got. I hope you all have a great league start, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see how my league start goes. Thank you.